Number 1. The secret bombing in Laos. Did you know that for nearly a decade, the CIA conducted a large-scale bombing campaign in Laos that even the US Congress was not informed about? This was part of a campaign known as the Secret War in Laos, which took place during the Vietnam War. The main objective of this operation was to disrupt and destroy the supply routes of the Vietnamese military passing through Laotian territory. For almost 9 consecutive years, the US dropped approximately 2.7 million tons of bombs on Laos. This amount of ordnance exceeds the total number of bombs the US used in Germany and Japan during World War II. On average, a bombing run occurred every 8 minutes, regardless of day or night. With this intensity, Laos became the most bombed country in the world when considering scale and population. The reason for the secrecy surrounding this massive campaign stemmed from Laos's neutral status under the 1962 Geneva Agreement. The US could not openly deploy troops or declare war, as that would violate international law. To circumvent this legal barrier, the White House entrusted the entire operation to the CIA. Since the CIA reported directly to the president, Congress was kept in the dark for many years. Some later declassified documents revealed that even many high-ranking officials in the US government at the time had only a very limited understanding of the true scale of the operation. When the truth was finally revealed, public opinion in the US was shocked, viewing this as one of the most emblematic examples of covert warfare during the Cold War. The consequences of this war are still evident in Laos today. It is estimated that around 80 million unexploded bombs remain scattered throughout the country. Each year, dozens of people are injured or killed due to leftover ordnance. Many fertile lands cannot be used for agriculture due to safety risks, making it difficult for local livelihoods. To date, only about 1 to 2% of the bombs have been completely cleared, and at the current rate, it may take more than a century to clean up entirely. Surprisingly, amidst these heavy consequences, the people of Laos have found unique ways to adapt. Bomb casings, once stripped of explosives, are repurposed into house pillars, gate posts, water containers, small boats, or even forged into knives, scissors, spoons, hammers, jewelry, and cowbells. An intact bomb casing can be sold for over $100, becoming a supplementary source of income for many families in rural areas. Number 2. Cultural rules to keep in mind in Laos. If you plan to travel to Laos, it is essential to understand some cultural nuances and customs to avoid misunderstandings or inadvertently offending the local people. First and foremost, touching a monk is strictly forbidden, especially for women. In Lao Buddhist society, monks hold a highly respected position, and physical contact with the opposite sex may be seen as compromising their purity. Therefore, if you need to hand over items or offerings, the most appropriate way to do so is to ask a male intermediary to assist. Additionally, public displays of affection in Laos are also significantly restricted. Actions such as hugging, kissing, or intimate gestures between couples are generally not accepted, especially in crowded places. For foreigners, these rules are even stricter. Engaging in sexual relations with a local without being married could result in fines of up to $5,000, deportation, and a 1-year entry ban. Moreover, actions like teasing or shaking hands with women in an inappropriate manner could lead to trouble or police attention. When invited to a Lao person's home, you should also be mindful of several specific etiquette rules. Lao people believe that sleeping with your head facing the door can bring bad luck and negatively affect the family's health. While moving around the house, stomping your feet is considered disrespectful and may cause disharmony among family members. During meals, it is absolutely advisable to avoid banging bowls or pots, as this action is viewed as impolite and could bring misfortune to the host. In addition to daily etiquette, the Lao people also hold many traditional beliefs passed down through generations. For instance, they refrain from cutting hair or shaving on Wednesdays or in the evening, and they avoid washing their hair on Thursdays. In traffic, Lao people are also very cautious about honking, with 85% of the population believing that honking is unnecessary in motorcycles or cars. Finally, an important note for travelers is to never buy or sell ancient Buddha statues. In Laos, these artifacts are considered national heritage. Taking ancient Buddha statues out of the country not only violates the law, but is also seen as an infringement on the spiritual values of the nation. If caught, you could face fines of up to $2,500 or imprisonment for 1 to 5 years for serious violations. Number 3. Unique customs of the Lao people. The Khmer people are one of the oldest ethnic communities in Laos, and they have a funeral ritual that surprises many first-time listeners. Instead of burying the deceased in a cemetery, the Khmer take the body deep into the forest and build a small wooden or thatched house, known as a spirit house, for the soul to reside. The family leaves behind familiar items such as daily necessities, food, and even cigarettes, believing that the deceased still needs these things in the afterlife. Once the ceremony is over, no one is allowed to return to that place. According to Khmer beliefs, going back could disturb the soul and bring misfortune to the living. Some travelers have recounted that while walking in the forest, they accidentally stumbled upon tiny houses nestled in nature, resembling children's toys from a distance. But in reality, they are the resting places of the deceased. In the northern mountainous region of Laos, the Akha people intrigue with a unique dating custom. When young Akha men reach adulthood, they build a small hut for themselves, separate from the main house. Inside, there is only a mat and a few simple items. But when night falls, it becomes a space for young men and women to get to know each other. If a young man is interested in a girl, he will invite her to the hut to chat and get acquainted. In Akha culture, intimacy between two people during the courtship phase is not considered inappropriate, as long as both consent. If the girl is not interested, she has every right to refuse without it affecting her honor or status in the community. In addition to the dating hut, the Akha also have another type of house that is quite special, known as the birthing house. They believe that childbirth carries an impure spiritual element, so women give birth in a separate small hut, away from the main house. After giving birth, the mother stays there for a few days before returning home. To outsiders, this custom may be difficult to understand, but for the Akha, it is a way to maintain the purity of the home and protect the soul of the newborn. Moreover, in northern Laos, the Phao Noi ethnic group has a naming tradition for children that leaves many foreigners unsure whether to be surprised or amused. They believe that evil spirits lurk to capture the souls of young children, so parents intentionally give their children unpleasant names like dog, worm, or black to mislead the spirits. When the child grows older and is deemed spiritually strong enough, the family holds a ceremony to change the name to something more beautiful, usually around the age of 7 or 10. Do you find the culture of love huts quite interesting? If so, comment with the number 3. Number 4. The lesser-known unique aspects of Laos. If every country has a type of food closely tied to its cultural identity, then in Laos, it is undoubtedly sticky rice. Laos is currently the largest consumer of sticky rice in the world, with an average of about 150 kilograms per person per year. This figure is significantly higher than in most other Asian countries. For the Lao people, khao niao is not just a staple food but also a symbol of abundance and family unity. Sticky rice is present at every meal, from simple breakfasts to important ceremonies. The way it is enjoyed is also distinctive, as the rice is rolled into small balls, dipped in savory dishes, and eaten directly with the hands. In traditional belief, eating sticky rice with one's hands allows individuals to fully experience the flavors and their connection to nature. Beyond its cuisine, Laos is also renowned for its majestic natural landscapes. In the southern part of the country, the Hon Pha Phing Falls is considered the largest waterfall in Southeast Asia. The falls are about 21 meters high, but stretch over 10 kilometers with hundreds of streams cascading continuously. The powerful water creates a natural barrier on the Mekong River, preventing boats from passing through the entire stretch. Locals regard this place as a sacred symbol of the river and a source of inspiration in many folk tales. The Mekong River is also home to a unique creature, the giant Mekong catfish. This is the largest freshwater fish in the world, with lengths reaching up to 3 meters and weights exceeding 300 kilograms. Its massive size has led locals to call it the living symbol of the river. Some local legends even believe that the giant catfish brings prosperity to the riverside areas. Fishing for this species is strictly regulated, and many communities see the protection of these fish as a shared responsibility. Number 5. Traditional women tend to be shy. When strolling through ancient villages or riverside markets along the Mekong, many people are often captivated by the gentle and modest beauty of Lao women. They typically wear traditional clothing known as sin, a long skirt that hugs the hips and extends down to the ankles. This style of dress is both simple and elegant, reflecting the true character of the women in this region. Rather than relying on expensive cosmetics, they prioritize natural beauty methods, such as using saffron or coconut oil for skin and hair care. Similar to many other Asian cultures, Lao women are raised to be composed, gentle, and to uphold propriety. They tend to be quite reserved in communication, and their shyness, often expressed through moments of blushing, becomes a unique charm. As a result, their affections are rarely displayed openly. Instead, care is often conveyed through glances, small gestures, or meaningful gifts, such as a white thread tied around the wrist. In Lao culture, this thread symbolizes good luck and signifies that you hold a special place in the heart of the giver. Although they are known as devoted wives and dedicated to their families, statistics show that about 35% of Lao women aged 18 to 30 are still unmarried. However, marrying a foreigner in Laos is not an easy process. The Lao government has implemented several new regulations to restrict cross-border marriages. Foreigners wishing to marry Lao women must reside in the country for at least 3 continuous months and provide complete personal documentation to verify their background. The approval process can take several months, even up to a year, and even if all conditions are met, authorities still have the right to deny marriage. These policies partly stem from the fact that Laos has a population of only about 7.8 million people, with a relatively balanced male-to-female ratio. Controlling marriage is seen as a way to maintain social stability. Additionally, strict regulations aim to prevent human trafficking, which has previously exploited legal loopholes to send Lao women to countries like China, Malaysia, Myanmar, or Thailand. According to statistics from Radio Asia, the Lao government rescues at least 150 victims each year and arrests around 400 foreigners for legal violations in border areas. These figures indicate that strict regulations are not only a means of control, but also an effort to protect women and the local community. Number 6. Other interesting facts about Laos. Laotians have a rather unique form of saving money that doesn't require banks or safes, saving by raising cattle. For many households in rural areas, cows are not only livestock for production but also the most important form of accumulated wealth. People often refer to cows as a mobile safe because whenever they need cash urgently, they can simply sell a cow to manage their finances. The price of a cow in Laos typically ranges from $600 to $1,000, while the average income of a rural household is only about $150 to $200 per month. This means that a cow can be worth 3 to 6 months' worth of income, or even the entire accumulated wealth of many families. When they need money for children's school fees, home repairs, or medical expenses, people do not have to borrow or go through complicated procedures. They just need to sell a cow to solve their problems. Notably, while urban residents often have to worry about inflation, interest rates, or fluctuations in financial markets, raising cattle in rural Laos is almost unaffected by these factors. Cows primarily eat natural grass, drink spring water, and the cost of care is very low. Meanwhile, the price of cattle remains relatively stable and rarely drops sharply. Although it doesn't yield quick profits like financial investments, cattle also do not lose value suddenly like cash during economic downturns. For this reason, many consider it an effective form of long-term financial insurance. In some villages like Wang Moi, cows are even given as wedding gifts, with the groom presenting 1 or 2 cows to the bride's family as a way to demonstrate responsibility and economic capability. In addition to the story of saving through cattle, daily life in Laos features many other interesting cultural aspects, including the habit of drinking coffee. Instead of using glass cups or paper cups, Laotians typically drink coffee from small plastic bags that are tightly sealed and fitted with a straw. This allows them to walk and drink at the same time, making it very convenient and popular at street stalls across the country. Not only is the drinking method different, but Laotian coffee also impresses with its distinctive flavor. The locals have a particular fondness for sweetened condensed milk, to the extent that a glass of iced coffee can contain more than a third of milk. The result is a rich, sweet beverage with a strong coffee aroma, making many tourists feel it resembles a dessert more than traditional coffee. Additionally, the language in Laos offers another interesting point. Lao is the official language of the country and shares about 80% similarity with Thai. Thanks to this similarity, people from both countries can understand a large part of the content when communicating with each other. Number 7. Living with in-laws is quite normal. In many countries, the image of men living with their in-laws is often associated with a lack of independence or economic difficulties. However, in Laos, this perception is entirely different. Living with one's in-laws, is not only a common practice, but also a familiar part of traditional culture, often viewed positively and conducted with formality. During a traditional Laotian wedding, the groom leaves his home to go to the bride's house dressed in traditional attire. He carries a symbolic sword on his shoulder and holds gifts for the bride's family in his hands. Following the groom are relatives and friends, bringing along household items such as mats, blankets, pillows, and clothing. These items are not for decoration, but are meant to prepare for the time the groom will spend living with the bride's family after the wedding. Before officially entering the bride's house, the groom must perform an important ritual with spiritual significance. He steps onto a stone covered with banana leaves and marigold flowers, symbols associated with purification and good fortune. After that, the bride's younger sister washes the groom's feet with clean water, symbolically cleansing away the old and welcoming him as a new member of the family. This ritual is often accompanied by a small symbolic monetary gift, reflecting respect and the bond between the two families. After the wedding, the groom will live with the bride's family for about 1 to 2 years. In some cases, this duration may be extended, depending on economic conditions and agreements between the two families. Another interesting aspect of family life in Laos is the role of men in the kitchen. Despite the prevalence of street food stalls everywhere, many men still frequently cook for their families. This is not seen as unusual. Rather, it is regarded as a sign of responsibility, care, and connection to the family of the wife. Number 8. All Lao men must become monks. Currently, about 65 to 70% of the Laotian population practices Buddhism, making the country one of the most strongly influenced by Theravada Buddhism in Southeast Asia. With over 5,000 temples serving a population of just over 7 million people, Laos has one of the highest densities of temples in the region. In fact, almost every village has at least one temple, and in larger urban areas, it is quite common to see multiple temples located close together. In Laos, temples are not merely places of worship. In the past, especially during the feudal era and the French colonial period, temples also served as a basic education system. Most boys, particularly those from farming families, were sent to temples to learn the Lao language, study Pali scriptures, and acquire reading, writing, and basic arithmetic skills, while also being trained in ethics, discipline, and rituals. Today, with the widespread development of public schools and free primary education, studying in temples is no longer as common as it once was. Nevertheless, the connection between temples and Laotian men continues to exist in a different way. Most Laotian men will enter a temple at least once in their lives, not to become lifelong monks, but to practice for a short period. This duration can range from a few weeks to several months, or even a few years, before they return to lay life, get married, and resume normal activities. This short-term monastic practice is seen as a way to repay their parents, accumulate merit, and serves as an opportunity to cultivate patience, humility, and a disciplined lifestyle. As a result, Buddhism has a profound influence on the spiritual life and character of the Laotians. Many Laotians are perceived as gentle, mild-mannered, avoiding confrontation, and always striving to maintain harmony in social relationships. However, in some cases, this trait can also have its limitations. Influenced by the concepts of karma and reincarnation, many believe that every event that occurs is a result of past actions, leading to a tendency to accept circumstances, show little resistance to injustice, and often choose to let go rather than fight back. This contributes to a stable, conflict-free society, but it also slows down change and innovation. This slowness is clearly reflected in the daily rhythm of life in Laos. For many travelers, this is one of the most striking impressions. When ordering at a small restaurant, waiting 15 to 30 minutes is completely normal. The servers are not in a hurry and do not seem to feel guilty about the wait. Many joke that the PDR in the official name Laos PDR stands for not only People's Democratic Republic but also Please Don't Rush. And indeed, if you try to rush a Laotian, the response you receive may very well be an unfriendly glance. Number 9. China's Debtor. For many years, Laos has pursued a grand ambition to become the battery of Southeast Asia. With a dense network of rivers and the Mekong River flowing through its territory, the country believed that building a series of large hydropower dams would enable it to sell electricity to neighboring countries and create a stable, long-term revenue stream. However, current developments indicate that reality is not entirely aligned with the initial expectations. Today, this nation of over 7 million people is facing one of the most severe economic and public debt crises in its history. The Lao kip has lost more than half of its value within just 2 years after the pandemic, leading to a sharp increase in import costs. Public debt has ballooned to approximately 97% of GDP by 2024 and is projected to reach 127% by 2025. As a result, the government is forced to allocate nearly half of the national budget solely for debt repayment, while spending on healthcare and education has been significantly cut. This has led to an increase in child malnutrition and a rising dropout rate. Economic pressures are also directly impacting the lives of the people. Inflation has surged, causing the prices of rice and essential food items to rise by 1.5 to even double, while workers' incomes have remained virtually unchanged. Many laborers have been compelled to leave factories and cities to return to their rural homes for agricultural work. Others have chosen to migrate to Thailand in search of better-paying jobs to send money back to their families. This migration has exacerbated labor shortages in the domestic economy, slowing production and further weakening growth. The root cause of this situation stems from infrastructure projects that were once seen as the key to the future. The Lao government believed that, positioned between Thailand, China, Vietnam, and Cambodia, the country could become a regional transit hub. Consequently, a series of hydropower dam projects and high-speed rail lines were initiated. However, over 70% of the funding for these projects comes from loans from China, which come with stringent conditions. High interest rates, short repayment periods, and binding terms have significantly increased financial risks. In the event of default, Laos may have to cede operational control or mortgage strategic assets. A precedent occurred in Sri Lanka, where the government had to transfer control of the Hambantota port to China due to an inability to repay debts. Laos now faces a similar risk. By July 2024, after the China Power Investment Corporation filed a lawsuit over an unpaid debt of more than $555 million, the Lao government agreed to cede control of most of its high-voltage power transmission system to China. The risk of losing control over major hydropower projects is becoming increasingly apparent. As of now, Laos's total debt to China stands at approximately $5.1 billion, while the country's GDP is only about $16 billion. On average, each Laos citizen is burdened with around $700 in debt related to China. Number 10. Laos once had the most powerful kingdom in the region. Laos is currently one of the least developed economies in Southeast Asia. However, few people know that in the past, this small nation was once one of the most powerful kingdoms in the region. In the 14th century, Laos was the center of the Lan Xang kingdom. The name Lan Xang means million elephants, and true to its name, it was an empire with impressive military strength and territorial reach. For nearly 400 years, Lan Xang controlled much of what is now Laos and extended its influence into northeastern Thailand. Thanks to its geographical location at the heart of the Indochinese Peninsula, bordering China, Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam, this kingdom was once a vital trade hub, connecting the interior with neighboring civilizations. However, as modern times arrived, this very location became a significant disadvantage. Laos is the only landlocked country in Southeast Asia. This situation increases transportation costs, hinders trade, and forces Laos to rely on foreign seaports. Fortunately, Laos has a kind friend in Vietnam. Since Laos has no coastline, Vietnam has allowed it to use a port in the central region to export goods to the world. This can be considered a rare gateway to the ocean that not all landlocked countries have. Not only is Laos surrounded by land, but it is also famous for its rugged terrain, which is among the most challenging in Southeast Asia. About 70 to 80% of its territory consists of hills or plateaus, making infrastructure development significantly more difficult. This treacherous landscape has also inadvertently turned Laos into a hotspot for cross-border smuggling networks. In the northern border region, where Laos meets Thailand and Myanmar, there is an area famously known as the Golden Triangle. This was once one of the most complex regions in the world for illegal activities, second only to the Golden Crescent comprising Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran. Laos lies right at the center of this area, and its mountainous terrain makes it challenging to control these activities. However, in recent years, the Lao government has closely collaborated with the United Nations, China, and Thailand to combat illegal activities while also enhancing infrastructure and improving social welfare in border regions. The Golden Triangle area has also become significantly cleaner than before. Number 11. The best and cheapest beer and wine in the area. When talking about Laos, it would be a significant oversight not to mention beer and alcohol, as this country is renowned for some of the best and most affordable beverages in the world. First and foremost, we cannot overlook Beer Lao, the legendary beer of Southeast Asia. As the national beer brand of Laos, Beer Lao is brewed from barley imported from France and Germany. Additionally, the Laotians add a secret ingredient that distinctly sets this beer apart: Lao white rice. This type of rice makes the beer smoother, less harsh, and allows it to glide easily down the throat, providing a refreshing sensation that perfectly complements the hot climate of Southeast Asia. Not too bitter or too sweet, like many other beers, Beer Lao maintains a harmonious balance between the grainy flavor, the yeast, and a hint of mild sourness, making it appealing even to those who don't typically drink beer. It's no coincidence that reputable platforms like Beer Advocate, Rate Beer, and Time Magazine have praised this beer. Travelers from around the world are often surprised that a country missing from the industrial map can produce a beer ranked among the best in Asia. In addition to Beer Lao, the country is also famous for Lao Lao, the traditional rice whiskey of the Laotians. This liquor is often brewed manually in rural villages and stored in plastic bottles or bamboo tubes, with an incredibly low price of around $0.30 to $0.50 per liter. Notably, Lao Lao also has more challenging versions, such as those infused with scorpions, snakes, or various herbs, which can be quite off-putting just to look at. However, due to its lack of proper filtration, Lao Lao has a very strong and potent flavor, often harsh on the throat and can make you feel warm all over after just a few sips, so it's best consumed in moderation. For the Laotians, this liquor is intertwined with daily life, serving both to keep warm and to foster connections and share joy during festivals or family gatherings. However, the availability of such delicious beer and alcohol has led to some negative consequences. According to WHO statistics from 2024, each Laotian consumes up to 10.4 liters of pure alcohol annually, nearly double the global average. Notably, the alcohol consumption rate among children under 15 years old is as high as 14%, regardless of gender. Excessive beer consumption has resulted in health-related issues for the Laotians. It is estimated that around 55% of total deaths in Laos are due to diseases such as cardiovascular issues, diabetes, and cancer, with most of these causes stemming from unhealthy lifestyles and beer consumption. This situation forces Laos to spend about 2% of its GDP each year to address the consequences of alcohol, while the total revenue from Beer Lao accounts for only about 1.2% of the national GDP. In response to this reality, the Laotian government has had to increase excise taxes on alcoholic beverages from 70% to 110%. They are also actively implementing educational programs and raising community awareness about the dangers of alcohol abuse, primarily targeting students to change the future of the country. Number 12. Lao cuisine has many unimaginable dishes. Lao cuisine features many dishes that may seem unbelievable to those hearing about them for the first time, yet they are part of everyday meals. A prime example is a soup made from a type of wood called pepper, or what locals refer to as pepper wood. At first glance, these are just small pieces of wood typically used for firewood or household materials. However, in the mountainous regions of northern Laos, this wood is shaved down to the size of a pinky finger and added directly to the soup, much like herbs. When cooked, the wood softens and becomes chewable. The experience of eating it is quite unique, creating a slight numbing sensation in the mouth, akin to a gentle electric stimulation on the tongue. If chewed well, it can be swallowed. Otherwise, it can be spat out. Moreover, Lao cuisine piques curiosity with its use of ingredients that many other cultures tend to avoid. A notable example is crispy fried spiders. Large spiders are caught from the wild, carefully cleaned, and then marinated with local spices before being deep fried until crispy. According to those who have tried them, the spider legs are crunchy like snacks, while the body is rich and tender, creating a rather unique texture. Equally special is the dish made from ant larvae. This is considered a valuable source of protein in the mountainous regions of Laos, even likened to a forest version of caviar. Locals harvest large red ant nests, selecting the creamy white larvae to prepare various dishes. The most common preparation is a sour soup with wild greens or frying them with lime leaves, chili, and local herbs. The rich flavor, combined with the natural aroma of the forest, makes this dish a true delicacy in local life. Number 13. The slowest-paced capital in the region. Vientiane is the capital of Laos, located near the border with Thailand and separated by the Mekong River. It is not only the political center of the country, but also the largest city, home to about 1/5 of Laos's population. One notable aspect is that while many capitals in the region are continuously rising with skyscrapers, Vientiane has no high-rise buildings at all. The reason is not financial, but stems from the government's policy to maintain an open, nature-friendly space and to preserve the peaceful rhythm of life that characterizes the capital. Vientiane is often regarded as one of the slowest capitals in Southeast Asia. The city rarely experiences traffic jams or noisy honking. The residents live quite leisurely and are seldom in a hurry. Shops, restaurants, and even government offices typically open later and close earlier than in many other capitals. People place great importance on personal time, so when the workday ends, they usually head home right away, and working overtime is not common. This may sound unbelievable for a country still facing economic challenges, but this lifestyle helps Vientiane maintain a rare balance. Even during peak hours, the streets are quiet enough to hear the birds chirping. For this reason, many foreigners refer to Vientiane as the rural capital. Buddhism plays a significant role in life in Vientiane. The city is considered the spiritual and cultural center of Laos, with temples found everywhere. The most prominent is that Luang, the national stupa and the most sacred symbol of the country. This structure stands about 45 meters tall, is covered in gold, and is believed to house relics of the Buddha. For many Buddhist devotees in Laos, a pilgrimage to that Luang is an important milestone in their lives. In addition to its religious significance, Vientiane also bears clear marks of the cultural fusion between Laos and France. During the colonial period, the French left behind many structures and influences that are still present today. Tree-lined streets, European-style villas, and small cafes nestled among traditional neighborhoods create a very distinctive landscape. A notable example is the Patuxai Victory Monument, built in inspiration from the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, but adorned with Buddhist motifs that reflect Laotian identity. Number 14. The Mystery of the Plain of Jars in Laos. The Plain of Jars is a famous archaeological site located in Luang Province, which was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2019. This area currently has over 2,000 stone jars of various sizes and shapes. However, only 3 sites near the town of Phonsavan are open to tourism. The first site has about 250 jars, the second site has around 100 jars, and the third site has more than 100 jars. The remaining areas are still inaccessible due to the risk of unexploded ordnance that has not been fully cleared. The stone jars here average between 1 to 2 meters in height, with some of the largest reaching up to 3.5 meters tall and weighing several tons. Most of the jars do not have lids. Some are completely above ground, some are partially exposed, and others are buried deep underground. Their shapes are quite diverse, ranging from round and elliptical to square. To date, researchers have not determined where these giant jars were crafted or how ancient people could transport them to the Xiangkwang area. Additionally, the true purpose of these stone jars remains a significant mystery. One hypothesis suggests that the jars were used to store rice wine for celebrations of victory during the reign of King Kun Chea. Other opinions propose that due to the frequent water shortages in Xiangkwang during the dry season, ancient people created these jars to collect rainwater. Another theory relates to burial rituals, as archaeologists have discovered human remains and grave goods around many of the stone jars. However, so far, none of these hypotheses have sufficient evidence to be convincing, making the Plain of Jars one of the most enigmatic archaeological sites in the world. Number 15. Daily life of the Lao people. Life in the remote mountain villages of Laos often feels like stepping back in time. Gone are the sounds of engines and the hustle and bustle of urban life. Everything here unfolds slowly and is tied to very simple daily activities. Most houses are stilted, made from wood and bamboo, and traditionally thatched with straw, although many have now replaced the thatch with metal roofs. To enter a home, one must climb a wooden ladder. Despite their rustic and worn appearance, these houses are quite sturdy. The space beneath the floor is often utilized for raising chickens, pigs, and cattle. In these villages, most daily tasks are carried out by women. They pound rice by hand, wash clothes in the river, carry water from distant wells, and prepare meals for large families. Meanwhile, men typically leave home very early, sometimes even before sunrise, to work in the forest. They chop bamboo, gather firewood, and labor throughout the day, regardless of whether it's sunny or rainy. Walking barefoot on slippery slopes is a common occurrence. If an outsider had to carry a heavy bundle of firewood in the rain without shoes, they might only last a few minutes, but for the locals, it is just a normal part of life. Every week, the village usually hosts 2 markets. On these days, residents bring everything they have grown, harvested, or made to sell, from wild herbs, honey, and sticky rice, to silverware and wooden carvings. Everything is displayed on simple tarps or bamboo tables. Besides buying and selling, the market is also an opportunity for socializing and entertainment. The most popular game is animal lottery. Each bet costs only a few cents, but everyone is excited and hopeful for good luck. Despite having endured many hardships throughout history, the Laotians are known for their gentle nature. Theft is very rare. People often greet each other with a smile and a slight clasping of hands. The familiar phrase "bo penyang," meaning no problem, clearly reflects their calm attitude towards everything. In riverside areas, it is quite normal to see men and women bathing together and chatting happily, as local culture values comfort over superficial judgments. In contrast, life in the larger cities of Laos presents a completely different rhythm. When night falls, the night markets in Vientiane and Luang Prabang come alive. Under the warm glow of lights, vendors display silk, handicrafts, bamboo lamps, grilled meats, and sweet coconut treats. Locals and tourists alike eat with their hands while sipping sugarcane juice, or enjoying the smooth, slightly sweet taste of Lao beer. Here, drinking beer is not just for fun. It has become a daily habit. Further away, near the border, lies Botan, which has a completely different atmosphere compared to the countryside or the larger cities. The casinos, neon lights, karaoke bars, and streets bustling all night primarily cater to tourists, most of whom come from China. The noisy and tempting lifestyle here starkly contrasts with the tranquility of the mountainous regions. And here we have gone through 15 interesting facts about Laos together. I hope the information provided has given you a clearer and less biased perspective on a country that is often portrayed very differently in the media. If you found this video helpful, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss out on our upcoming exploration content. The information is for reference only, so please do your own research before making any decisions.